Have you ever met the guy that you wanted to hate? And when you went to pull your straps up, told you to wait. Now let me give y'all a little demonstration. See, I read
Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, peace. What up, y'all? This is yours truly, General Pow Shadowz, better known as Arthur, also known as Arthur P.E. McCallum, author of the book NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N Word from a hip-hop perspective, back with another good and informative video on this platform, man, so we can address some things, because you know this platform is all about what? I'm all about addressing issues surrounding the N Word, of course, because the N Word is like the catalyst of all racism, particularly towards against Black and Indigenous people. That N Word, man. Man, that N Word is weaponized against us, man, in so many ways. And me writing this book all about the N Word, going into the history and the origins and the etymology and the social issues surrounding the word and the racist history and all of it's covered in this book. It's an attempt. What do I say on the back of it? I say, I consider this memoir a social experiment and a daring attempt to delve deep into the psyche of American culture surrounding the struggles to correct racial and social injustice, white supremacy, and a horrible state of race relations we are currently experiencing in this country. And every day I get more content on this platform because it exists. It's real. That's why I wrote the book. That's why this platform exists. It's just, we have to address it. Racism is not going to go away through osmosis. It's not just going to filter out on its own. We got to talk about it. That's why I wrote the book. You know what I mean? That's why I wrote the book. So I hope that, you know, you'll gain something from this. Yeah, I hope that we can learn and grow. In today's topic, you know, that we want to address, the subject matter is a student, right? It's particularly, let's discuss hate speech, because the N word is a form of hate speech. You know what I'm saying? And that hate speech has been used as a weapon, and is continuing to be used as a weapon, you know, of oppression by racist people, white supremacists, etc. They use it to intimidate. Like in this case today. I want us to look at a situation that happened with a young man at Aurora University in Aurora, Illinois. All right, this young man, Black and Indigenous man, experienced racial intimidation, you know, and they used the N word as a weapon against him, you know, to scare him. And unfortunately, it worked. It worked. You know how it hurts, how much it hurts for me to have to tell you all that it worked, that this young man was intimidated by these white, so-called white or Caucasian football players, fellow students of his. And they harassed him, they called him the N-word and etc., to the point that it made him want to leave the school. You know what that affects his generational wealth. That affects his family so deeply. That's a part of his family history now. When he talks to his grandchildren, that happened to him in 2025. And Pow Shadowz is one of the only people who is making content about that right now, who find this appalling. And let's go right into this story. Let's listen to this. This story, it comes from Fox 32 out of Chicago. Again, this happened at Aurora University in Aurora, Illinois. And this just makes me sad to bring this video to you all, but that's what this platform is about. We're going to address it here. Let's go.
Let's go, Deuce. Let's go, Deuce. A touchdown that made his dad cheer. A moment that felt like a beginning. Money! He's 18 now, but Brooke Williams has worked for a shot at college ball since he was 5. The Plainfield native chose Aurora University, 30 minutes from home, for the field and the feel.
I went on a visit, I think in like December, and I just really like the culture, and I just like the facilities and the campus, really.
Weeks into his first semester, he says that feeling changed and the locker room turned hostile.
At first, they had made some N-word comments, and I was just like shocked and like appalled by it. And then after that, shortly, another guy said, why are you sleeping here? Don't you guys sleep in?
You heard what he said? He said they made some N-word comments. Who knows what they were? He doesn't go into what they were, but you can only imagine. He made some N-word comments. They weaponized that N-word. I'm telling you, it's 2025. November 2025, about to be 2026, and they're still weaponizing the N-word against us. And do you think there's no need for me to write the book? Did you not think that this book is necessary? You do not think this platform is necessary when we still dealing with it today? We have to continue to address these things. We need stuff like this.
And he was the only black player in that room. He says the George Floyd reference followed, and all he could see was the scene the world can't unsee.
So just to be clear, everybody got that. They made some N-word comments. Then they made some other comments about black people sleeping in trees. And then they made some references to George Floyd. All right. Straight intimidation. All that's hate speech, hate crime, hate speech. Hate speech is a hate crime. Crime has been established. Let's go.
Floyd dying under an officer's knee, and fear set in.
You're 6'3" saying this to a 5'7", that's intimidating.
As a mother, I was devastated, to say the least. Our whole family has been affected by this.
Brooke's mom, Aisha, says reporting it felt like a second fight. She pushed for a formal investigation.
I didn't give up. I was relentless. Emailed the president, the vice president, everybody. Every single day. They would give me no answers. Next day, I'm emailing again, calling to the school, emailing, even the coach. I emailed him as well. And so finally, the vice president scheduled a meeting with us, and we went and sat down with her and the coach, my husband and my son.
The school's investigation found 2 players created a hostile environment based on race. Brooke
So you see that? Like the mom, she's affected. Not only was he affected, but now the pain. You know, and then it says that they created, because these students were created a hostile environment for this young man based on race. And I want to say peace to this young man. I think his last name is Brooks. Not sure it's his whole name. I didn't quite get that, but peace to this young man and his family. You know, my heart goes out to y'all. I'm with y'all. You know, I stand with you. I'm here for you. All right? I am here for you. If this video makes its way to you, I want to say I love you all. Keep your head up, stay strong, and I'm with you in this struggle against racism and white supremacy. You know, and I'm fighting this little fight with y'all, because we got to address it today. And we're going to continue to address it, because we got to start to have some social justice, get some healing done. Our people are really being affected by this. To this day, as they say.
As they kept playing while that investigation was going on, their initial punishment suspended from the team and put on disciplinary probation. But after lawyers got involved in an appeal, that changed. They take racial sensitivity training and be back on the field next January. Mm-hmm. Aisha says a meeting with the coach made it worse. That coach, former NFL player Don Beebe, a Super Bowl winner with the Packers, told them he knew the families of the players accused.
The words that he spoke in front of us and the vice president, I used to be in the NFL. I had black friends. Me and my black friends told racist jokes. He said, I want to forgive the kids like Jesus forgave David for being a murderer.
Brooke never got an apology, not from the players, not...
So there you have the coach making excuses for this behavior. Oh, they good kids. You know, I know them. They're good kids. And he was a former NFL player. So now what we're going to we need to make another video on racism in the NFL. Colin Kaepernick is not the only one, I'm sure. Racism in the NFL. Racism, a former NFL player now projecting, allowing racist things to happen to one of his students under his care. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. How do you think that a black and indigenous man feels in this country when we hear about stuff like this? You know, I mean, can you just imagine the overall despair that in dark cloud that it puts over our lives every day that we have to experience every day? There's two different existences in this country. There's the existence of white folk who drive around and don't get racially profiled and don't get discriminated when they go to the bank to get loans and don't get discriminated in the housing when they go to get housing. And then there's this other group of people who are black who get discriminated who get racially profiled and pulled over when they riding down the street, who get discriminated against in the bank and getting loans, who get discriminated against getting housing, who get discriminated against in locker rooms and get threatened and intimidated in their locker rooms since they was children. And then when they grow up, it don't stop and the police and everybody else discriminates against them. Imagine the dark cloud. And you want us to what? Be quiet? Not talk about it, right? That's not fair. It's not fair for there to be two existences in the same country where people paying the same taxes. It's not fair. And that's why this really gets to me, because this young man is intimidated. His life is threatened. His future is threatened. Man, he had to quit the school because of intimidation.
Not from the coach. He says the coach stopped speaking to him in film sessions, even skipped his plays on screen. That, he says, was the moment he knew he couldn't stay.
When we went to get my shoulder pads and my girdle and everything there, a bunch of stuff was missing. My pads was missing. The only thing that was really left was my cleats and my girdle, a bunch of my gloves, my mouthpieces.
You telling me they harassed this young black and indigenous man out of school by some Caucasian students. So y'all Caucasians that aren't racist, we need y'all to speak up. But you mean to tell me they did all this to this man, and then they took his stuff on top of it, took his items? Talk about low-level, low-class individuals.
My towels, they're all gone.
2 weeks later, a friend texted him these photos. Everything was back in his locker. By then, Brooke had already decided to leave, losing his $60,000 scholarship and his peak.
Oh, they gave it back. But did you hear that?
$8,000 scholarship and his photos. Everything was back in his locker. By then, Brooke had already decided to leave, losing his $60,000 scholarship and his peace of mind.
Honestly, it was hurtful because I've been working so hard. I saved a bunch of money to go to school, and now I'm stuck working again. I can't go back to school until January, and I don't know where I want to go.
The university sent us a statement. It says it takes reports seriously, and federal law limits what it can share. It says every report is reviewed, and action follows if there's a violation. The Williams family read it themselves.
The report is carefully reviewed, lies, appropriate, whenever policy. Yeah. He doesn't feel valued or supported.
Brooklyn says the process left him with one question.
Really, it's just like, am I enough? Like, what did I do to deserve this?
It's a question past students of color have had. A 1987 Chicago Tribune article describes similar racial tensions at Aurora University, from KKK graffiti to fear in dorms. 4 decades later and across the country, race-based harassment reports on campuses remain among the top categories of civil rights complaints. The FBI tracked more than 11,000 hate crimes in 2024, most tied to race. The Williams family says it's shocking, but they're not shocked.
Several of his teammates have vocalized that they're scared to say anything. Caucasian students, by the way. And that's why they didn't speak up for him when he was being antagonized and harassed that night.
See, that's what I'm talking about when I said, all of y'all listen. See, the only way racism is going to get better in this country, right, and the effects of it, because whether we want to admit it or not, racism affects us every single day. It's always on a black and indigenous person's mind, in the back of our mind, a lot of us, a lot of the time. I can't speak for every single black and indigenous person, but for the black folk I know, it's always on our mind. We've had to deal with it our whole life. And the Caucasian students said they felt like they couldn't speak up. They're scared. They were scared to speak up on behalf of this young man. Because see, that fear, you have to eliminate that fear. All fear, we have to eliminate the fear of fighting against racism and white supremacy and speaking out against when we see it. You know, don't be afraid. If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that borders I and I? You know? So, we all have to speak up. Black, white, Asian, Latino. We all have to speak up. If you see it, you know, say something. You know? Don't just let it ride. We can't afford that anymore. It takes all of us.
So I'm not surprised. What we allow will continue, so.
For other families, this is about more than one team or one university. Experts say ask colleges how they handle discrimination, what training teams receive, and how the school ensures safety after a report. All things Brooks' dad, Jerry, wondered. He stayed quiet, a silent support close by, until he couldn't anymore. If you could speak directly to Aurora's president and board, what would you say?
Listen to this young black man. I'm not here to tell you how far to go as far as pushing or disciplining these kids, but it has to be more than just a suspension to the end of this football season or January. Now you got these kids that went through this situation, they appealed it, plaintiff.
Yo, so that's the end of it. That it ended abruptly, kind of like right there. But yeah. So they've been suspended till January, and yeah, they get to come back to school. And I don't know that that's enough. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. They should be. If they intimidated a young man to the point that he quit the school, lost a $60,000 scholarship, then they should be forced to quit the school and lose whatever they got going on as well. And that's justice. That's fair. That balances the scale. If the scale is if justice is represented by the scale, then that will balance it. 1 for 1. You know? Anything else is uncivilized, and anything else is less than justice. So being suspended and being allowed to come back in January is injustice. So hate speech. So we're talking about hate speech, and they've really weaponized it. I like for those of you who have a copy of my book, get your book out right now and turn to page 104 and read along with me on hate speech and on this section titled Hate Speech. And for y'all who don't have a copy of my book, go to Amazon right now on your Amazon app and download and get a copy of NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N Word from a hip-hop perspective by P.E. McCallum. It's available on Amazon in paperback, audiobook, and Kindle right now. And I like to read this section on hate speech because that's what this was. And it goes like this, page 104. Hate speech comes in many forms. We often think of hate speech as speech that involves some racial or ethnic slur. However, this is not always the case. For instance, when I was 12, my white 7th grade principal said, "You're not going to make it to the end of the year." I wasn't in trouble, and this wasn't in the office. He just decided to take it upon himself to walk up to me and tell me that. I've never shared that with many people, but it was hurtful, not helpful. Coming from a white American male, I felt like that was hate speech. Who knows what his true intentions were? The word nigger, with the hard R spoken or written in its adopted European form, is, hold on, before I can't go on without saying it. That happened to me when I was 12 at school. I had my white principal, Mr. Silverman, came up to me at Tyner Middle, and he said, "Hey, you're not gonna make it." Just out of nowhere. We weren't cool like that. He didn't never come up to me and tell me I was gonna make it, and then come tell me all of a sudden that I'm messing up and I'm not gonna make it. No, this is the first time he said something to me personally. single me out. I'm walking in the hallway. And he just looked at me and he just hated my grades were good. I didn't start doing bad in school until I got into the 8th grade because I went into the hood school. But at this time, this guy comes up to me in the 7th grade and says that to me. You're not going to make it. That's hate speech. You know, that was very hurtful. I took it as racism and white supremacy. Even at that age, I knew about it. The word nigger with the hard R spoken or written in its adopted European form is probably the most commonly used derogatory word when someone tries to be offensive to a black or indigenous person or African American. And when it is used in this manner, it is a form of hate speech. In common language, hate speech refers to offensive discourse targeting a group or an individual based on inherent characteristics such as race, religion, or gender that may threaten social peace. Cambridge Dictionary defines hate speech as public speech expressing hate or encouraging violence towards a person or group based on race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. According to the American Library Association, there is no legal definition of hate speech under U.S. law. It goes on to state that generally, however, hate speech is any form of expression through which speakers intend to vilify, humiliate, or incite hatred against the group or class of persons based on race, religion, skin color, sexual identity, gender identity, ethnicity, disability, or national origin. As of now, hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. Let me repeat that. As of now, hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. The courts protect hate speech because the First Amendment requires the government to strictly protect robust debate on matters of public concern, even when such discussion devolves into distasteful, offensive, or hateful speech that causes others to feel grief, anger, or fear. I think that the First Amendment should be amended. Our court should not be obligated to protect speech that causes anger, fear, or grief. The courts ruled that this is not considered a crime unless it directly incites criminal activity or consists of specific threats of violence targeted against a person or group. And this is something I would like to see change soon. That's what I said. I mean, it just don't stop. The injustice, the hate towards black and indigenous people in particular, and minorities in general, it just don't stop. So all of y'all, that First Amendment need to be amended to. You don't get to perform hate speech, even if you're not, making threats of violence. If you just don't hate speech, we shouldn't be subject to that. Should be a crime. Shut your mouth. You don't get freedom to say whatever you want to say. If it's hurtful. That's not what freedom of speech is about. Shut your mouth. Especially with the historical things that we've had in our country concerning whites and so-called blacks. And then you want to start throwing hate speech at us to make us feel bad with the history that we have. That should be a crime, period. Whether you make threats of violence or not. Enough is enough. Cállate la boca. I think that means shut your mouth in Spanish. I don't know. But gotta do better, y'all. I don't care if you're black, white, or whatever. Speak up against it. Speak out. Go get your copy, NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N Word from a hip-hop perspective, available in paperback, audiobook, and Kindle. And go to your Amazon app right now. Next time you can read along with me. But, there's a pledge in here. In my book, I made a pledge to fight racism. We'll read that some other time, but I make a pledge to fight against this. To that young man and his family at Aurora University, hold your head up high. Don't allow the word nigger, the N word, to make you feel bad in any way. Because I want to remind you that the N word comes from NGR. And NGR means deity, God or goddess, ruler or king. It comes from ancient Africa. The N word came from Africa and we use it among ourselves. They call you king. When somebody calls you the N-word, they think they're being hurtful because the N-word was taken from Africa, NGR and Negus, and meaning Negus Nagas, the king of kings. The N-word comes from Negus, what the Ethiopian people called their rulers. All of their rulers were called the Negus. You the Negus, king. Emperor Haile Selassie, Jah Rastafari, he's the Negus Nagas. He was the last Negus. You come from the Negus, king. The nigga is the Negus. The nigga is the Inger or the Netger, the king, the emperor, the deity, the ruler. He thought he was hurting your feeling, but he's really calling you something much cooler. Hold your head up high. Don't let these guys bring you down. So he doesn't know what he was calling you. Yeah, the Europeans took the N-word and changed it and translated it from a king or ruler to something totally offensive now. But it originally comes from something high, a high compliment. So understand that, know that. You control the narrative. And don't let these people hurt your feelings, man, when they call you the N-word. Don't let them take your scholarship away. I understand, though, why you would want to leave that school. You don't feel like you're supported at that school. I feel you, man. But don't let these demons, man, block you, man. Stop you from getting your education, man, and advancing in the world. That's what they want to do. That's the whole purpose of white supremacy, is to make you feel bad to the point that you don't want to advance. Don't let them do that, man. All right, keep your head up. And please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep building, fam. Yours truly. Hey, look, man. Keep hip step over all obstacles. Hey, fam, hip step over these guys, these fake football players. These guys try to intimidate you. Hip step over all of them, man. Keep hip stepping. Be successful. That's how you get back at them. Kill them with success. Kill all clowns with success. All right, spread love, not hate, man. Do better.